Good morning. We're going to look at the devotions that we have in our bulletin for the week, and I want to keep this very short, but I do want to just give you a couple thoughts. And the message that we'll be looking at on this Sunday will be the fruit of the Spirit, which comes from Galatians chapter 5, which is all the works of the flesh. Now we're going to look at the fruit of the Spirit, which is the positive, of course. And in our day and time, we do need to exhibit the fruits of the Spirit. Appreciate Pastor Donald's message on God last night. We're living in times that are very unique and unusual, and there's no qualities that the qualities that the fruit of the Spirit have us to exhibit can be very beneficial, very profitable during these days of very much unrest and many hearts that are troubled. Because we're told, "Let not your heart be troubled. Believe in God." And the verse that I gave to you on the letter to the church was 2 Timothy 1:7, where God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So it's important for all of us to use a sound mind during these days of everybody else seeming like they are almost losing their mind. It's great to know that we have a God who helps us to be able to keep our minds secure upon Him. But the passage is 1 Corinthians chapter 13. The question I ask is, how do you exhibit love? And so the fruits of the Spirit, the first one, of course, is love. And there's no passage that is any greater in the area of love than 1 Corinthians 13. I want to give you the first 7 verses. Let me read them for you. Though I speak with the tongues of men and angels and have not charity, I am become as a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecies and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains, have not charity, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity, profit me nothing. Charity suffereth long, is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, doth not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoices not in iniquity, but rejoices in truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. The world we live in today needs to see this kind of love, and this love is self-sacrificing love. It's not a worldly concept of love, which means self-gratification many times, but this is the giving of oneself. Christ, of course, is the perfect example of love. And when you define the word, which is agape, it means to sacrifice yourself for the good of somebody else. This passage that Paul writes in the middle of a section talking about gifts that the Holy Spirit has given to believers, he wants us to use love in every part of every time we use our gifts. He expects us to exhibit that with love. He starts off by talking about the fact that if we do a lot of deeds or ministries and we don't have love as our motivation, there's really no profit to it. And that would be the sign of our day and age. We know we need to be sure that we're not just doing it to be seen or to have people focus their attention upon us. And then he says, when you do couple your ministry with love, then it's going to go a long ways as far as God is concerned. It's going to be done with the proper motivation. And so in the day in which we live, with all of the activities going on in grocery stores, with hoarding of different commodities that are there, and people basically are only thinking of themselves. And the biblical concept here is to think of others. Yes, we need to have our needs met, and God would tell us that also. But we also have to be careful that we do not overdo that and think about other individuals as well. Especially in a time such as we are, where many people are having difficulties, we need to do all we can to help them and encourage them. Now, for believers, this means we can pray for them, but we can also call them. We could maybe give them a card that would be encouragement, and especially when it comes to people who may not be well off or people who are sick. And so Paul says that the motivation that we use with our spiritual gifts are always important. And the first of the fruits of the Spirit is the area of love. And so we need to constantly evaluate what we're doing and how we are doing any job or any ministry that He gives to us, and see just exactly what motivates us to do that. Is it the good of other individuals? Are we using the love that God has given to us? And what is that love? That love means that we're sacrificing ourselves for the good of somebody else. Prime example, always, is Jesus Christ. He sacrificed himself for you and I. Therefore, you and I can have this assurance of salvation. But in our daily lives, are we going the extra mile? Are we exhibiting the fruit that he has given to us? Are we showing forth this love to other individuals? So one of the areas you can look at your life and my life, especially in a time of tragedy such as we have, is that we do not become so self-absorbed, but we are looking to be able to encourage others, especially in a church situation. A church isn't a building, it's a group of people, and we can still show our love for one another in the fact that we can encourage them in many different ways. And so I trust today that your heart and your attitude is placed upon Jesus Christ. He's given you the security that you need through these days that we live in. And then not only are you doing it for yourself, but then you're also encouraging other people to show forth the love that Christ has for them, and that you are doing it in a way that is encouraging in their life and their hearts. And as we think about this area, it's always important for us to evaluate, are we functioning in the area of the Spirit? And God expects us to do so. So I trust today that as you go about your daily deeds, and as you hear the news reported today and all the events that are going to occur, that you can remember that the love of Christ constrains you, it saved you, and it's always the area where you can put your confidence and your hope. No matter what this world does, no matter what this world involves itself with, you can always remember that you have that confidence that he loves you and that he came to die for you. And so let's look to his love today to show forth to others what God has done for us. And so I do trust that you exhibit love in many different areas today. Thank you very much.